Hi everyone, this is Maeve TR Creations and welcome to my first ever doll repaint video. Today we'll be transforming this Draculaura doll into a completely new character. I'm going to be making my elven bard character, Thea. Let's jump right into it. First, we want to remove all the factory paint using 100% acetone. Take the acetone on a cotton ball or cotton swab and use it to wipe off the factory paint. Next, we want to remove her hair. I'm using a sharp pair of fabric scissors to do this. Cut as close to the head as you can. Once Draculaura has a buzz cut, it's time to remove her head and take out the rest of the hair from the inside. Dunk the doll in a container of boiling water to make the vinyl nice and squishy. Using a towel to shield your hand from the heat, gently and carefully tug off the head. With luck, the head should pop off and leave the neck peg intact. Using a long pair of needle nose pliers or tweezers, wriggle them around inside the head to pull out the rest of the hair and the glue inside the doll's head. This process is both very gross yet oddly satisfying. Next, I'm going to lightly sand the body to prepare it for painting. Using a fine-grained sanding block, gently scuff up the plastic of the body and the head. For the paint, I'm going to be using Vallejo model color paint in light flesh. Using a makeup sponge, I lightly dab on a thin layer of paint. I'm using a makeup sponge so there won't be any brush strokes. I also painted the body off screen. It took 2 layers to become completely opaque. Once the paint is completely dry, I spray both the body and head with Mr. Super Clear sealant. This stuff is super toxic, so make sure to wear a mask and spray outdoors. Allow 30 minutes for the spray to dry. Next, I'm going to do something called blushing. By applying subtle gradients of color to the joints and curves, we can make the plastic look more alive and realistic. I'm using Mungyo soft pastels. Using a frayed brush, I work in a soft peachy pink into the joints. Here's what it looks like with only 1/2 of the body blushed. See the difference? Next, I'm going to reroot the doll. Using my reroot tool, which is a needle cut at an angle stuck into an X-Acto handle, I take a few hairs at a time, loop them over my tool, and plunge it into the head. Sorry that I went off camera a little bit here. This is what it looks like when it's completely rerooted. Look at that gorgeous blend of grays. To seal the hair in, I'm using a strong waterproof glue. This is liquid fusion and it's super strong. Pour a few drops inside and squish the sides together to spread the glue around. Set the head aside to dry overnight. Now we're ready for the face. Using more soft pastels, I work in lip color and blush, using a kneaded eraser to tidy up the shapes. Using a light brown watercolor pencil, I sketch the shapes of the eyes and fill in the irises with green. Sorry about my hair coming into frame here. Using a light gray, I sketch the initial shapes of the eyebrows. Turning the head upside down can help to get the placement even. Using a small angled brush in gray soft pastel, I fill in the shape of the eyebrows and refine it with the kneaded eraser. Sorry for the sudden jump in progress here. It turns out that I didn't actually press record on my camera. But as you can see, I added pupils and darkened the eyebrows and the lash line. Here I'm adding a light peach to the waterline and filling in the lips. Using a wet paintbrush, I lift pigment straight from the pencil and use it to build up the color in the scleras. From there, I push the darker colors and pull out the lighter colors in the eyes and use delicate flicks to add in eyelashes. Eventually, I decided to switch to paint. Using metallic green and a tiny detail brush, I fill in the irises. Look at that gorgeous shimmer. I also use white paint to build up the colors in the scleras. I also applied Pearl-Ex mica powder to her cheekbones, below her eyebrows, and Cupid's bow to give it a soft shimmer. Once again, I forgot to actually press record, but I gave the doll one final coat of Mr. Super Clear, added eye shines, and used glossy varnish to add a lifelike shine to the lips and the eyes. I also put the head back on the body. Her hair looks so beautiful with the new face. I wasn't totally sure what I wanted to do with her hair, so I experimented a little bit off camera. I ended up making 2 ringlets in the front with straws and bobby pins. Dip the hair from boiling water into ice water to set the style and leave it to dry overnight. Once it was dry, I put the rest of the hair into a low ponytail, leaving the ringlets out at the front. For her outfit, I used the Red Riding Hood pattern from DG Requiem, available on Etsy. I modified the pattern a little bit to remove the shoulder straps from her corset piece, as I didn't like how it looked. I made the outfit off camera, as I'm still learning how to sew at a doll scale. For her shoes, I'm using a pair of boots from another doll that I painted to bring out the details. For her armor, I followed Delightful's armor tutorial to create this breastplate and shoulder protectors out of craft foam. I added the details using some fabric paint. It looks a little bit like a gingerbread cookie right now, but it'll look way better once I paint it. I used hot glue to add the shoulder pads and center detail to the breastplate. I covered everything with a layer of brown paint, and here I'm using gold paint to pick out the details and shades of brown to add shadows and highlights. I also created a secondary outfit. This pink dress I made using Delightful's medieval tiered dress and a pair of shoes from my stock box. With that, the doll is done.